Hi everyone. So in this tutorial, we're going to go over the basics of subdividing a surface using Grasshopper and Rhino. So to begin with, you need a singular surface such as this one, and as you're developing them, try to make them one singular flowing surface. Otherwise, if it's a poly surface, explode it out and then try this example. So after we made one surface, we're going to type in Grasshopper and go to our subdivisions file that I sent you all. And we have three separate scripts here. So for the first script, it goes over dividing this surface up into quads, and basically you can bake them out for surface redevelopment. So first off, we're going to click on the reference surface at the top. We're going to right click on it, set one surface, and automatically it should load into Grasshopper. Now as you can see here, it's divided up into quads, and if we were to go around on our canvas here and move this number slider back and forth, we can start to break it up even more for higher resolution of that surface. So as you can see, if we bring it down low to one division, it cuts off a lot of corners and you lose quite a bit of resolution here. But if you bring it up, you can see there is some still resolution loss, but not quite as much. And also you're able to do that in the opposite direction. So from here, I'm just going to take this surface really quickly, and I'm going to just move it over 2 more times. And from our quad division on our surface, I'm going to just scroll over here to surface, and I'm just going to click on the surface here, hit spacebar, and go over to this egg shape, and just click it. And from there, if we select last created, we can move that over. And as you can see, Grasshopper bakes out little quad panels for you. So that's quad division. So from here, let's go over to triangular division. So as you can see in the quad, they're not completely flat. So there's still some kind of arches forming in here. Not to say they're not developable, but triangles obviously are flat and you can unroll them much easier than quads. So from here, I'm just going to right click on my reference surface again, set a surface, and as you can see, I made this definition so you can break it up into triangles formed from the quads that we did earlier. So again, we can start to divide these out even more, try to get some facets. If we divide them up less, you start to get almost like an origami pattern happening. And again, both directions work. And then from here, again, we can just slide over, select our surface here, and it should turn out green, hit our space bar, and hit the bake button. And from here, we can just move it over. And as you can see, it's made up of singular little triangles that you can unfold later on. And for our next one, we're going to break it up into almost pyramid shapes using the normals to each surface. So the normal is the center vector of each one of these poly surfaces here. So let's just reference in our surface and see what we get. So as you can see here, it lifts off the surface in the normal direction using these little pyramid shapes. And again, we're able to adjust. And we can adjust in Rhino as well if we need to, and everything adjusts to it. And then we have another parameter in here, and it's under amplitude. And from this little driver, what we can do is adjust the height off our surface. So we can get a little bit more spiky or invert the spikes, however you wish. So let's just bring that up a little bit. And again, let's just bake that out. Okay, and so I'm going to close out a Grasshopper for this. And select these guys. And so this surface in particular will not unroll completely by itself. So if we, just for an example, if we join the surfaces together and type in unroll, make sure explode is on no, and just right click, you'll see here that there's a lot of overlapping shapes, but it's actually pretty close. So typically for each one of these is you want to do them in kind of strips. So if we just do 2 at a time, for instance, and we hit unroll, we're able to see that the strips actually divide up really nicely, and you're able to assemble that again. As for the quad panels, if it works, you might be able to do 2 rows at a time, hitting unroll, but more than likely with quads, you're going to get some overlapping parts. So from there, you might want to actually just do singular rolls, or singular rows, rather, for your unrolling if you're using quads in your subdivisions for a skin. So as you can see, that unrolls really nicely. Now for these pyramids, these get a little trickier. So sometimes they'll unroll as one singular piece, other times you might have to do them as singular pyramids. So if we just select one of the rolls, hit unroll again, and see what happens, it works. So each one of these pieces, if folded up nicely, would actually create this first row of pyramids. So this strategy would actually work pretty well, but you definitely have to check for overlaps later on, just so you're not stuck with assembling something that does not work. So these are the basics of subdivisions, quads, triangles, and then normal facing pyramid subdivisions. And basically these would be really helpful for placing a skin on your structures.